Welcome to Here Where You Belong, your go-to podcast for exploring belonging with your host and belonging expert, Dia Irby. We are thrilled to have you join us. Together, we'll dive into the depths of what it means for each of us to find our own place in the world, whether it's within our communities, our relationships, or within ourselves. Today's episode is meant to inspire, uplift, and remind you that no matter where you are or where you're headed, you have a place where you truly belong. So, grab a cozy spot and settle in. Welcome to Here Where You Belong.
Hello, awesome belongers. Welcome home to Here Where You Belong podcast. I have someone amazing for you to meet today who definitely belongs on this podcast. My guest's journey began in the vibrant chaos of Cairo, Egypt. I'm Dia, your host. Get ready to be inspired and blessed. Welcome, Mario Wissa. How are you?
Hello, Mario Wissa over here. I love this introduction. Really blessed to be here.
I've got some more to tell about you. So hold on. Here we go. He is a social communication expert with a passion for helping individuals and organizations improve their communication skills. As a researcher, author, and public speaker, he's dedicated over 17 years to studying intrapersonal, interpersonal, and group communication. He's authored 3 books on the subject: Empowering Communication Unleashed, 180-Degree You in 180 Days. Ooh, that sounds good. The Listener, Learn by Osmosis. Universe is the University. Mario spent 5 years exploring the cultures of Asia, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia, where he gained invaluable insights into the nuances of communication across different societies. And those are different. He has a passion for understanding the subtle ways we connect, the barriers we face, and the strategies that bridge those gaps. Wow. Did I leave out anything? Do you have something to add to that or clarify, Mario?
I might have something to add that will take 2 minutes. May I do that now?
Do it, yes.
No, 2 minutes. I'm sorry. 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Okay.
It's a great introduction. I'm actually a really humble guy, and I do my very best to share my own experiences and my thoughts with other people. And the introduction that you just presented, it reminds me to be even more humble, because no matter how much I know, I actually do not know enough yet. In the meantime, I hope I can have a positive impact on other people's minds and lives. So
I love
that's
that.
it.
ABL, I say ABL. Do you know what ABL is? Always be learning.
Oh, yes. I titled myself a student of the universe. So I like that.
I
APL.
love it. ABL,
Yes.
always be learning. A day that you haven't learned is a day you haven't lived. So just dropping them here.
Simple
This
program.
is about belonging. And as you've traveled the world, experienced all these different societies, and learned the nuances of the differences, where and how did you find belonging or create belonging for other people? Just take it away and tell us your story.
I think it has a lot to do with my it is, which we kind of we talked a little bit about the interview, but basically for people to take the time to invest the time to find what their it is. And for me, it is communication, to enlighten people, to introduce them to what communication is, and more specifically, empowering communication. I realized this is a magnificent tool, whether you live in the US or Asia or Africa or Europe. The ability to know what empowering communication is, and also to realize the subtle non-verbal cues of communication can really help us not to only connect with other people, but also in the meantime to look at our own behavior and understand what that means to be connected with ourselves. So communication, which is my it, helps us to connect with ourselves and other people in authentic way with time.
I love that. So share with us some of those subtle differences that you discovered.
So to be really clear, when we say subtle, it's like almost invisible. Um, think about this, and I'm gonna have to like slow down to take this home. The moment we wake up in the morning, the moment we open our eyes before we use the restroom, before we brush our teeth, what is the first thing that we tell ourselves? That's a subtle communication. And this subtle communication primes our day as how we go and move on and move forward throughout the day. Number two, in the middle of the day, when we encounter a situation or scenario that might be challenging for us, what do we tell ourselves? Like, oh man, this is happening all the time. I cannot deal with this. Or I can tell myself, this is happening. This is a learning experience. What can I learn from it? And how can I move on forward to create a better version of me? The third part is at the end of the day, which for me, honestly, the beginning of the day, the end of the day are the most crucial parts of our experiences. At the end of the day, what do I tell myself? Like, oh man, I did not get the things that I wanted to get done, or oh, I did too much today, or it's like, oh, I forgot to make this call, or do I tell myself, I did the best that I could right now, and my best will get better with time. I go to sleep tonight, I recharge, I recover, and tomorrow I will keep trying to do my best. So those hints, like we don't really have we often we think communication is like communicating with other people, which is relationship and interpersonal communication. Yet some of us not aware of the power of intrapersonal communication, how we connect with ourselves.
It's so important, our self-talk.
Self-talk, self-conversation. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we're talking to ourselves. It's, oh, you're so stupid. Why'd you do that again?
Yep.
Why can't I ever remember to da da da, Communication, well, just like whatever we want to make a difference in the world about, it has to start with us making a difference with ourselves. If you want to have friends, you have to be a friend. If you want to communicate well, the first and most important person to communicate with is yourself.
100%. Now, I feel like we're going so deep, so far, so fast here, which what you're saying right now, the academic term for that is intra-personal communication, how we converse with ourselves. The 101 that we have on is interpersonal communication. And more than that will be 2, 3, 100, 500 people is a group or organizational communication. I love so much that you brought this up because how we communicate with ourselves, the relationship that we have with ourselves has a ripple effect on every other relationship we have. Our intimate partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, co-workers, roommates, whatever we think, it all starts. What kind of relationship I have with myself? When I cultivate a healthy, empowering, inspiring relationship with myself, which is something I'm working on every single day because it is non-stop process, we actually keep refilling our cup where eventually we can share with other people without even realizing it. It becomes a subconscious process.
We can't pour out from an empty bucket or an empty pitcher. Pitcher would be better. You can't you can't pour out from something that's empty.
You can sell from an empty wagon. Yes, ma'am, 100%.
Well, there's that too. You can't. Right. So I like the practical tips of actually seeing the day in three parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. It,
Yes.
it, if you just started in the morning with the first one and got that one down, and then you could add maybe the end of the day. Thinking back, one thing that would be helpful, I think, is to think back over your day and actually celebrate. Like
Mhm.
you did the yay, the cheering and the.
Yes, yes,
Do
thank
you
you.
think adults celebrate? I mean, when you're little and you have your birthday parties or you win your t-ball game and everybody's, let's go out for pizza. But then you become an adult and it's expected for you to do certain things and there's no cheering squad. Well, you should do it without having a cheering squad, but it's okay to celebrate too.
100%. Whether we are 1 years old or 100 years old, if someone gives us a gift or do us a favor, excuse me, or say something nice, we ought to celebrate it. I think one of the reasons why we grow out of that because we buy into the illusion of growing up, maturing. That means you don't have the same feelings or you do not react the same way. Well, guess what? Quick example, if a young teenager meet a new partner, they get super excited. The same thing if you meet a new partner when you're like 25, 45, 65, 75, you still get excited. Emotions does not really know age. Yet the culture construct tells us otherwise. A 3 year old, a 7 year old can be happy with ice cream. Yet we can look at the older person who's happy with the ice cream. It's like, why are you so happy with ice cream? You're just happy. Emotions does not know age.
That is a good point. Emotion doesn't know age. And that means the whole range of emotions. But we're taught to hold it in or not express emotions because what would people think?
Yes,
Mm,
yes.
mm. Well, I know that
What?
you work with people and help people. Do you have any, without using anybody's name, any success stories of transformation of someone that has made a change through communication, the difference it made?
Absolutely. And with awareness that you said, don't mention names. I actually would like to start by mentioning 6 names up front. I'm just kidding. No names. I'm just no names. I'm just totally joking.
You've
Uh,
changed the names to protect the guilty.
there's actually a common thread, honestly, for helping people for the past 10 plus years. A lot of us, we think so much about the obligations on the outside, do not take much time and attention to focus on the obligation on the inside. So, one of the most simplest tools, and honestly, I'm not going to talk about a specific person, I have a dozen examples.
Okay.
Just to introduce the following idea, I have seen amazing ripple effects of practicing that, which is as simple as the moment we wake up in the morning, it does not matter what exactly we do as long as we intentionally, mindfully, and deliberately spend the first 20 to 30 minutes of the day with self. What that looks like, when I wake up in the morning, I usually make myself some tea with lemon, light incense and candle, and I just sit with myself, playing some music in the background, maybe not, it depends. And I just sit with myself the first 30 minutes of the next, whatever, 16 hours. 16 hours, and I'm only taking half an hour for myself to connect with myself. How was last night? How was your sleep? What would you like to get done today? How does the tea taste? Look at this beautiful light on the candle. Can you smell the incense? Oh my Lord. Universe woke me up this morning. It's a miracle. That means my mission is not done. I'm giving you example of the self-affirmation and self-confirmation and conversation that helps us to go throughout life. I have shared this simple tool, which is challenging for some of us. If you practice that, not for 30 days, not for 6 months, not for a week, if you do this for just one day, early in the morning, second day, third day, you will see changes that may not be easy to comprehend at the time. To be one with self, it helps us to actually be compassionate and connect with other people. Simply spending some high quality, focused time with self early in the morning.
So it's sort of like put on your schedule a board meeting with me, myself, and I, and make sure you're aligned. And remember, I like that. Wow, I did wake up. Well, I didn't wake up dead today. So
100%. 100%. Just really quick, I have a strong urge to plug this in. Scientifically speaking, around the globe, every single 24 hours, more than 150,000 people do not wake up in the morning. Every single night, 150,000. That's 1, 5, and 4 zeros. Obviously, it's estimate, yet I woke up this morning and I'm not one of the 150,000 people. What a great deal of gratitude washes upon me.
that is good to remember. And this is all so good, so rich, so life empowering and impacting. But we're going to take a break and we will be back in just a minute. Be right back with Mario. Hey there! Isn't my guest amazing? So glad you joined us today. In this world that often feels disconnected, building community and fostering belonging are essential. That's why I created this podcast, to bring inspiring people to you, to encourage you to create that sense of belonging and community, no matter where you are. If you're being blessed by my guest, and we have some more, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. You know who needs to hear this. Stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember, you belong. Now, back to our amazing guest. And we're back with Mario the Great. Thank you for being here, Mario. And as you may know, those that have been listeners, belongers for a while, on the second half of the podcast, I like to ask my guests 3 questions. And the first question is, what do you consider is your greatest accomplishment? Mario?
It's a me, Mario, and I consider, honestly, genuinely, truthfully, my greatest accomplishment I'm truly grateful for is figuring out what my it, what my it is. Basically, something that makes my heart tick, something that I would love to research nonstop until my last breath, something that I cannot shut up about, which is communication, interpersonal communication, intrapersonal communication, compassion, communicating with compassion, authenticity, and showing up. Is true privilege to figure out what my it is, live it, practice it, and experiencing it and sharing it with other people.
I love that. Too many people, well, I wonder what percentage of people don't even stop to go, hey, wait a minute, I have a purpose here on earth. I'm not just here because I was born. I was created, I was put together with gifts and abilities and a mission, a purpose. And that's why I'm in the world. There's somebody in the world that needs you to be you. They're missing something. There's something they need to learn. There's something they need to experience. There's something they need to feel. And you may be the only person that can bring that to them. And that's why you're here.
I love that.
So when you do find what that is, your purpose, your it, as you say, why you're here, that is a great accomplishment. And thank you for sharing that. And I want to celebrate you that you have found that, because who knows the percentage of people that haven't.
Do you want to celebrate right now? It'll take 2 seconds.
Sure, let's celebrate.
Awesome. Awesome. What the other one? Listen, I really love that you bring this up because it's really true. I do believe from my own personal experience to transition from being born by accident to live intentionally, it is the biggest transition that I can bring up because scientifically and biologically speaking, when a sperm and egg get together, there's a chance of 1 in 100 billion to exist. Kind of existed by chance. Going from my existence as a chance or by accident to deliberately creating what my life would be like, now that's a fruitful path.
Absolutely. Someone once said, and it's been attributed to many different people, no one knows exactly who, so we'll say anonymous said this. There are two important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you find out why. And it is. I like to picture it as a great big jigsaw puzzle of all the people in the world and the story of the world. And you're one piece, and you're thinking, I'm just one piece out of billions of pieces. Is the picture complete if your piece is not put in its place? It isn't. If you try to put it somewhere else, it might fit, but the colors aren't going to match because it was created with the exact shape and the exact colors that it is needed to complete the picture. All the pieces around it are waiting for your piece to be there to make theirs make sense. So find your purpose. What is it you're passionate about? Anything you want to add to that?
The quick answer is yes, because I have a lot to share. I love what you shared, and it's like so true. Like finding the purpose, a really big part of finding the purpose. For some people, it actually translates into creating this purpose. So a very good, very important word, dharma. I study some yoga and meditation, and dharma, it means duty, duty, your job, duty. So some of us, the duty has been imposed on us, and we're okay with it. Some of us, we get to choose what our duty is. So sometimes we can look at a purpose or a mission is like, oh, it's being given to me. That's my purpose. That's my mission. Some of us at some point in our life, we can think like, you know what? I can actually cultivate my own mission. I can actually create my own purpose, no matter what's being said to me. That's very liberating. We basically choose what influence and impact we have on this world before we leave it. And as I'm speaking those words from my heart, that's the path I'm taking.
How did you discover that communication was your purpose, your passion?
It literally took, I think, 40 years to realize it. So I am the youngest of four. And from really young age, I realized that something was off, something was missing. How people converse, how people deal with conflict, different opinion, different point of view, experiences. I've really felt this for a really long time, and I keep pursuing reading, writing, listening until about 17 years ago when I took one communication class. And for me, it felt like a whole new world, like a whole new light bulb came on for me. And to be very honest with you, Dia, the communication knowledge and classes I took had such a profound impact on me that I can remember vividly. After some of the classes, I used to go home, um, cuddle with myself in bed solo, and just cry for hours. Why? Because the informations I learned at the time, I wonder what would my life would be like if I had known this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. My relationships, going through marriage and divorce, and friends and family. What would my life be like if I had known this before? And that's actually what's driving me for my mission to share this information, because I really feel like it can change humans' mind and life overnight. At least that's what I believe.
I love that. You waited, I mean, it happened to you late, and you're looking for
Yes, ma'am.
people to help them before they go through
Yes.
marriage and divorce or
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Next question
Yes.
is, what makes you feel like you belong?
um, Something that took me a little over a decade to develop, which is to actually show up authentically, genuinely myself, and also feel and sense that other people are showing up, being who they are with their imperfections, their flaws, their real true emotions. I notice that sometimes when I'm around like very business people or corporate world or corporate people and trying to put this persona on, or I just do not feel connection. I do not feel connection. Someone who, when I ask someone, is like, "How is your day?" They go, "Oh, my day is this and that. My cat had that happen, and the dog that happened, and this happened last week." I want to connect with human, not persona. So when I show up, and the other person shows up, I feel like it's a genuine heart-to-heart connection.
Why do you think people don't show up?
I love this question so much, because I can reflect on it from my own personal point of view and also other experiences that I learned about. Uh, Oftentimes, when we are not aware, we do not show up because we learned that skill at a younger age. And I've gone through this, where we show up in a certain way that will create a safe environment around us. So we show up in a certain way so we can create peace and no one get disturbed. Yet, when we show up regardless to the ripple effect, I'm not saying being hard or difficult, but just being the real you, whatever struggle we're going through, we actually create the right environment for us to grow and connect. So not showing up um, accordingly, if you want to say, or in a healthy way, authentic way, it's because it is a mask that we developed over time to put on so we can create specific ripple effect so we don't bother people, we don't feel like burden on people. Yet, if we show up who we really are, that means we trust the environment that we're in. So when we trust the environment we're in, this is who I am. That's what's going on. If we don't trust the environment that we grow up in, especially as a child, we go like, what do I need to do to make you feel happy? What do I need to say? What is the appropriate thing? That's not me.
Right. It's protection.
100% protection.
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
it could also be just being zombies, walking through life not thinking or experiencing it, not realizing that you're a zombie,
Not aware of it. Yeah.
or not realizing you're in a coma and just going through the motions, and that somebody needs to wake you up.
Hmm.
So you get Mario to help you wake up.
I am no one. I'm just sharing my experiences. Do not get Mario to help me because Mario is trying to help himself. I love that. Thank you. You're so sweet.
Uh,
Um, you said something really interesting. May I comment on with awareness of time? And I know we're
yes,
trying to keep
yes,
this
we're
concise.
doing good.
Um, so one of the things that really had a huge impact on me was in 2017, 2018, when I was traveling India, and I was actually teaching English to monks, Buddhist monks, Hindu monks, Tibetan monks, and they were calling me teacher. I'm like, no, you are my teacher. You don't get it, But they were so humble that way. They were very, very humble, and I learned a lot from them. I just have to like pause for a second, for myself and this conversation, and also our listeners, that the word think and thinking, I literally took 2 years to reflect on this word. What is a thought? And I've had a huge debate with my monk students. What is a thought? However you think thought is not wrong. Thought is simply is a piece of information, the mind neurons firing together. So technically speaking, biologically speaking, scientifically speaking, the human and the brain is not able not to think. We're thinking 24/7 from the moment we start breathing outside of the womb until our last exhale. When we're done with this, we think while we're asleep, hence dreams. We think when we're listening to other people, reflecting and evaluating what's going on. Thinking is a non-stop process. Hence, when we say someone think or does not think, that may not be necessarily logically true, yet I think what we are trying to say here is, are you thinking mindfully or thinking mindlessly? I just feel strong
Good
urge to bring this up.
distinction. Good distinction. Are you intentional in your thoughts?
Yes, ma'am.
Mindful or mindless?
Mindlessly, yes.
Mindlessly. Okay. I did read something recently that you can't think thoughts when you're singing.
Where do you? I would love to see that
Look that up.
article.
I found it. The all-knowing internet. So I don't know how accurate that is.
If it's internet, it must be true.
It
One
must
friend
be
of
true.
mine told me that the other day.
That's what Abraham Lincoln said. If you read it on the internet, it's true.
Internet. That's funny.
I saw his quote on the internet.
I love it.
So the third question is, what is your favorite quote? Now, I know you have a lot of quotes, but today, right in this moment, being mindful of your favorite quote.
My favorite quote, for the sake of this conversation and the topic, which is really important to communication and what being a human is like, and also connecting with ourselves and others. The quote is, unexpressed expression causes depression. And that quote does not only apply or our interpersonal relationships, also applies to our intrapersonal relationships. Even if we have something inside our heart and mind, we need to write it down. We need to look in the mirror and speak it up. It has to be expressed. If it's not expressed in some ways, it's going to create some kinks. So simple response. The quote is, unexpressed expression causes depression.
It's like holding a poison inside and letting it fester and not getting it out of your system.
I like that you say that. It's a great metaphor. In the meantime, if you put a seed of a flower in a box and really dirt and water, if it doesn't have light, it may not grow. So it could be like something healthy or not healthy. It's just to give it the chance to grow.
Also, I limited in that analogy the expression.
Oh, bless you. It's cute.
See, I didn't want to keep that in. I had
Being
to
a human.
express that.
Yes, I love that. Yes. It would come out in a different way if you didn't express it.
Well, the expression doesn't necessarily have to be bad expressions. If you withhold joy or happiness and you don't express it, if you don't express celebration, then it could cause depression because you're not recognizing the need or the opportunity to celebrate, which is a happy. So whatever the expression is, good or bad, wherever it is on the spectrum, sadness, grief, or just being elated. If you don't share it, don't celebrate yourself, or just look in the mirror like those mindful thoughts in the morning, middle, and day and night. Just go, hey, You were good today in that conversation with so-and-so. You got it. You did good. I want to celebrate you, and say that to yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to hear and be, it's not going to be reinforced in you. And we need to celebrate ourselves and celebrate others. Well, this has been totally fun. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Before we close, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
I'm not gonna lie. The moment you say this, like pardon words, I'm like, am I becoming president or something? I need to pardon someone. I'm just kidding. I look
Parting.
at pardon. I look at language and words, and I like to play with that so much. I actually do have a message, final words, and it's actually not mine. They are from my dad, who passed away about 24 years ago. I consider my dad the greatest man that ever walked this earth. When people say Jesus, I think about my dad. That's the kind of compassionate and kind human being he was. And he always said, and he taught me, not always said, he lived it. Uh, to be kind beyond necessary to self and other people is the greatest virtue a human being can take on. To be kind beyond necessary to self and others. He was, and he will always be a role model of that for me, my dad.
That's the showstopper. I, yes, so true. Well, to our amazing guest, Mario, thank you. And to our listeners, belongers, stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember you belong. This is Dia Irby with Here Where You Belong podcast signing off. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in to Hear Where You Belong. We hope today's episode has inspired you to embrace the beauty of belonging in your own life. Remember, no matter where you are or where you're headed, you have a place where you truly belong. Join us again next time for more insightful conversations and heartwarming stories. Until then, stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember that you belong.